Some cool news to relay to everybody on this Monday. As you can see, I don't have my normal equipment around me. It's renovation time here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. I'll probably talk more about that here in the coming days. You've seen less content here in the last couple of weeks. There's a reason for that, but getting a bit of an upgrade here in the studio, so that is exciting. Also an exciting day for former Hawkeye linebacker Pat Anger. Big news on the radio front for Iowa football. We'll talk about it in just a second, but of course, we have our sponsors to thank for the programming. First of all, Iowa Floor Covering down in Bondurant. If you have a flooring project, maybe you're a DIYer and are looking to upgrade your home or business, certainly give Iowa Floor Covering a call or visit their website. Their phone number is 515-379-7000. That's 515-379-7000. Or you can visit their website. It's iowafloorcovering.com. Also under the kitchen, Randy Engel and his authentic Hawkeye artwork. I wonder if Randy's got a Pat Anger print in the mix. I'll have to touch base with Randy. He's got a great selection working with a bunch of former and current athletes. Check it all out. Visit Under the Kitchen on Facebook. That's Under the Kitchen on Facebook. So speaking of Pat Anger, the news on this Monday, and this had been kind of speculated upon for a few weeks, ever since Ed Podolak announced he would be retiring from being Iowa football's color guy on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Yes, Pat Anger has now been elevated to the position. Pat jumping from, I believe, a credit union in Eastern Iowa. He's worked in finance ever since the end of his NFL football career. He had a couple of good years for the Indianapolis Colts after being drafted late in the second round back during that 2010 NFL draft, which, by the way, for the Hawkeyes was a great draft. You talk about guys like Amari Spivey, Tony Moayaki, Kyle Callaway, Brian Bulaga, Pat Anger. Pretty impressive draft class. And Pat Anger ended up being a star early in his career, and it was a career that was eventually halted due to injury. It happens so much in the NFL, unfortunately, to some great people. Pat Anger has got a great personality. One of the first things that comes to mind for me as a Hawkeye fan growing up, I watched Pat Anger. It was a great time to be a Hawkeye fan. He played on some really good teams, like back during that 2008 run with Sean Green. He was a big part of that team. But Pat Anger has always had passion, has always had drive, clearly cares about the community, cares about his former teammates in Hawkeye football. If you recall back in 2015, remember the ESPN feature and, of course, the walk out by Brett Greenwood, who, boy, has his own unique, heavy-hearted story with Iowa football. Pat Anger has been a big part of Brett Greenwood's therapy and recovery in his life ever since the tragedy involving a Pittsburgh Steelers workout. So anyways, Pat Anger, a lot of things I think about when I think of the name Pat Anger, and overall just a tremendous representative for Iowa football, was a really good linebacker. He was not a consensus first team All-American linebacker for Iowa, but he was an All-American. Here, I'll read you the brief synopsis from Iowa that was released today. This is from the University Athletic Department. Anger will join the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin, in the booth beginning August 31st in that season opener against Illinois State inside Kinnick. This is a quote from Pat. He says, "I would like to thank Learfield and the University of Iowa for this amazing opportunity. Since the beginning of this process, they have been nothing but professional and gracious. I'm incredibly honored to be a small part of a program that has been so good to me and teammates over the years. Ed Podolak and Gary Dolphin have been a huge part of my Hawkeye football experience as a player and as a fan, and I hope that I can do them, the university, the football program, and the fans justice. I plan to take the same passion I had as a player to the booth." Yes, he played for the Hawkeyes from 05 to 09, compiled 258 tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, a couple of sacks, and 6 interceptions. Impressive numbers as a linebacker. The Bettendorf native was a member of 4 bowl teams, the 2005 Outback, 2006 Alamo, 2008 Outback, and yes, that run to the BCS win against Georgia Tech in the 2009 Orange Bowl. Here's what Kirk Ferentz had to say. "Pat's passion for Hawkeye football has been evident from the moment he set foot on campus nearly 15 years ago. He was the heartbeat of our team throughout his career. I am confident he will do a great job on the air." Of course, in 2009, he did earn first-team All-America honors by Football Writers Association of America and Phil Steele's College Football, and a second-team honor by Walter Camp in the AP. He was a finalist for the Nagurski Award. He led the Big Ten in tackles, averaging just short of 13 per contest in league games, was second in all games at 11.2 tackles per game. He was a first-team All-Big Ten selection after leading Iowa to an 11-2 victory and an Orange Bowl win over the Yellow Jackets. Team, of course, finished 7th nationally, just short of a Big Ten title. After 2 seasons as a reserve linebacker, he burst onto the scene in 2008, earned second-team All-Big Ten honors, led the team with 107 tackles, and was named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week after the Wisconsin game. He was selected 63rd overall in the 2010 draft by the Colts, played 4 seasons in Indy, had 328 career tackles, 2.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. And I mentioned the injury issues for Pat Anger. Had a foot injury that cost him just the season after a breakout year for Pat. In fact, in 2011, he was the starting middle linebacker for the Colts, led the Colts in tackles with 148, tried to get back into the flow of things, got onto the Falcons roster, but was eventually cut. I think he dealt with a concussion issue is what I read. And yes, injury just sidelined him for the remainder of his career. Residing in Bettendorf, he's returned to Iowa after really having nothing but great things to say about the city of Indianapolis in his retirement statement. And his wife, Mary Beth, was proposed to following that Orange Bowl victory in 2009. They've got 3 kids. So very interesting storyline. And I know Gary Dolphin had made the comment to the media here a few weeks ago that he wanted someone who was part of the Kirk Ferentz era and who was a defensive player, since they had somebody of the non-Kirk Ferentz era in Ed Podolak previously, who was also an offensive player as a tailback. Ultimately, I don't know that Gary Dolphin made this decision. Sure, he had some influence, but he and Kirk Ferentz are both heading toward the tail end of their respective careers. Pat Anger, though, still very young. My guess is he's going to be a part of this team for a long, long time, and probably will outlive the tenure of Gary Dolphin as Iowa's play-by-play guy. So congratulations to Pat Anger. If you love turning the TV down and listening to radio, you'll get to hear Pat Anger on August 31st in Iowa's season opener against the Redbirds of Illinois State. Just wanted to log on real quick and kind of give you a synopsis of what happened today, the big news. Congratulations to Pat Anger. Stay tuned. More content is coming. I'm not going anywhere. I'm Corey Braddock from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Talk to you soon.